Welcome to The Road to Innovation, powered by the Kleinert Foundation. On each episode, we delve into innovative solutions to society's most pressing issues like sex trafficking, homelessness, and poverty. We hope that with each conversation, you'll be inspired to take actionable steps towards social change. Here's your host, Hannah Rabelais from the Kleinert Foundation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Road to Innovation podcast powered by the Kleinert Foundation. I am your host, Hannah Rabelais, and today I have a wonderful guest with me. Came all the way from Frisco in this rainy Dallas weather, so thank you for risking the tollway for us. I have Miss Tracey Altman, and she is the 2020 marketing lead for Dallas Startup Week. Mm-hmm. You are on the DEC board of directors, and you also are a principal at Altman Consulting.
I'm very busy.
You are. I know. I was like, thank you for making this time for us. So,
thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here to talk about what we're doing.
I know, and Dallas Startup Week is coming up April 26th. So I'm just so excited to share with our listeners what y'all are doing and talk about this incredible innovation stuff and bringing entrepreneurs in our city together. So thank you for the work that you're doing and really promoting our city and people who are doing good work here.
Thank you. You know, it is a great place to be right now. To be an entrepreneur in Dallas is just the place to be. And so our organization really works hard at supporting them any way we can. Mm-hmm. And Dallas Startup Week is one of the big events we do yearly to bring people together to network and to talk and to how do you do this? How do you go after funding? You know, I think people can feel alone when you're in a business of one.
Yes.
And so we want to kind of bring the entrepreneurial family and the ecosystem together so everyone's talking and learning and not having to go through some of the bad lessons, right? Like when you hear from somebody a better way to do stuff. So super excited that it's almost here. Every year it comes really fast. Like, oh my gosh, April will be here before you know it.
I know, it's already February.
Don't say that.
Well, for those listeners who are not familiar, can you just share briefly, like, what is the DEC Network and what is Dallas Startup Week?
So the Dallas, it used to be the Dallas Entrepreneur Center, and now we just call it the DEC Network. We are all about supporting and investing in the community. And so the entrepreneurs are our target audience. And the ecosystem, everyone who wants to be one, that maybe I have an idea, but I don't know what to do with it yet, to people who have full-fledged ideas and now they're ready for really either their next idea or they want to make their business bigger. It's really all about getting everybody together and networking so they have a family and a community. Dallas is, the number one area for startups. I've got some great stats for you.
Yes, please share those with us.
In 2019, Thumbtack named Dallas ranking number one for small businesses. We were ranked number 3 for entrepreneurs in Dallas, across the country. I mean, think about that. You're thinking about New York City and Miami and all these big places, and Dallas has got their name on the block. We're ranked number 1 for female entrepreneurs who typically do get funded less than their male counterparts. So we're out to get rid of that myth quickly.
Come to Dallas, y'all.
Yeah, exactly right. And then, the other thing I think is really interesting is we're ranked 11 out of a whole category that WallHub did in 2019. So they looked at money and banking and investments, and that's how they came up with that. So again, 11 out of our whole country.
Wow.
And the other really interesting fact is we were ranked 11 for patents out of 250 areas across the United States.
Which blew my mind when you told me that. I was like, Dallas? What?
In 2015, they decided to open up a patent office here, which I think is such a great tribute to the government actually had insight and said, you know what, we don't want people having to fly and do paperwork and do all that. Let's really do it. And they haven't looked back since. So it's really, really exciting that we're not just talking the talk, but we're walking the walk.
Yeah. So what else does the DEC Network do?
We do everything from mentoring. We do free classes. The other thing is we're a nonprofit. So, it's really all about the money that folks give us to invest in the community. We give right back to the community. So you could have anything between 10 and 20 classes a month. You might want to take a marketing class. You might want to learn how to code. One of our sessions is doing CEO spotlights. So it really, again, is about how do we connect these audiences and this ecosystem together. We're doing a lot of work in South Dallas right now, and I'm really, really proud of that because when you look at the demographics, people have kind of forgotten South Dallas. Yeah. And you see a lot of rebuilding happening, and we're part of it. We just launched a cohort of entrepreneurs for the Kauffman Foundation, and we do a 4-month training for businesses. So you can
In
come
South Dallas.
In South
Oh,
Dallas.
wow.
So, something that people there don't always have the right tools. So now we're giving them the right tools. Through Paul Quinn College and UTD, we're doing entrepreneurial skill trainings for students. I mean, they're the next generation.
Yes.
So, we want to make sure, and this generation, your generation, they're young and they are entrepreneurial. They don't want the typical 9-to-5 job. So I'm really excited that we're taking a progressive stand in terms of how do we get them the right tools so they can start earlier. We are offering free co-working space and networking space in our South Dallas location in Redbird. And this is a big
Free
deal.
co-working, y'all.
Yeah,
That
free.
is unheard of.
Free
And in
Wi-Fi.
South Dallas.
Free Wi-Fi,
Wow.
free space. All of the offices in that building are all sold out, which we didn't know when you open up a new facility. So super excited that means there's a thirst for
Yes.
entrepreneurs. But all the general space, we just said, you know what? Come on, come be free. Come have a cup of coffee. Come really network with the other people in South Dallas. Because, we believe if we invest in them, they'll invest in the community. They'll end up buying coffee somewhere. They'll end up having people come in for, hotels. They're going to network with other businesses to grow. They're going to hire people. So, the whole thing is about how do we revitalize South Dallas. And I really think we're on our way to doing that.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. The co-working space is huge. And I just found that out like 10 minutes ago. So I'm still just overwhelmed and just blown away by y'all's mission and how y'all support people holistically. So let's pivot back to Dallas Startup Week. So how did that start? And then how on earth is this event free? Like a whole week free of just so many great sessions. Tell us more about that.
It's great. This is our 6th year. And about 6 years ago, I think the folks sat down and said, okay, we need something, right? So we're doing these little things, but people yearn for more. And so this is our 6th year doing it. It is a 6-day event. It starts on Sunday and ends on Friday.
April 26th.
Yep. And we do everything. I mean, when I say we do everything, we have 16 tracks. And we kind of look at them from a vertical and horizontal perspective. So from a vertical perspective, we've got healthcare and blockchain and my mind just went blank. And then from a vertical standpoint, we do, from a horizontal standpoint, we do marketing and legal and things that everybody needs to know.
Yeah.
We do fashion, we do entrepreneurship. So we really want an opportunity for people, one, to go learn. What am I doing? And as I said before, we kind of have 3 groups of entrepreneurs that come to this. I have an idea, but I haven't left my job yet to do anything about it. I have an idea and I've got a business plan, but now I'm like, okay, now what? And then now I'm doing this full time and I need help. So we try to attract different types of speakers and sessions so that everybody can kind of get what they need. The most important part about this is networking.
Yes.
And I mean, every year on every survey, we need more networking time. We need more networking time. We run we run that all week. And the reason it's free is because of sponsors. We have the best sponsors. So for Dallas Startup Week, it is powered by Capital One.
Yes.
So they have been a tremendous partner. And let me tell you, they're not just a sponsor because they give money. I've worked with these people. They're about their business. They want entrepreneurs to succeed. And I love that about them.
That's incredible.
I love that a sponsor is not just putting down money and saying, hey, this is part of my advertising thing. They really believe in the entrepreneurial community. And they do a lot of other things with us. And sponsor a lot of programs. Matter of fact, on Friday of the week that we're doing Dallas Startup Week is our corporate startup innovation that we do on site there. And they take care of all the expenses. It's a free event. And what I loved last year was we brought together people from academia, people from social good, and people from corporate to sit down and talk. And
Which never happens.
No, they don't. And we need each other. I mean, I think the big thing here is I want people, what we want is people that really want innovation. And the truth is technology innovation comes slower to academia and social good than it does to other folks.
Very true.
So having these people in the same room is so beneficial. I was sitting at a table last year at Capital One, and they had the Dallas Symphony and AT&T on the stage. And it was fascinating because they talked about when the Symphony went to pitch Dallas, AT&T for funds. And it was a disaster the first time, right? And so it was because they didn't have everything that the corporate people need. And then the corporate people didn't really understand what they needed. So it's really a great opportunity for all of us to have really great chats about how do we work together and how can an entrepreneur help corporate? Because sometimes corporate might be slower to innovate than an entrepreneur because there's a little more rules around that.
Yes.
We're looking at social good folks, they're nonprofits, people with huge hearts, but they need to be more technology savvy. and they need to speak the language if they want people to fund them. So we're really lucky that we've got sponsors like Capital One to kind of, and a lot more than that. Thomson Reuters does our Women of Innovation.
Yes, talk more about that. Yes.
It's one of my sweet spots. So we launched it last year. It's a day event, and it's really about celebrating women. And women are underfunded. Women don't get as much support sometimes in the community, and we're going to change that. That's really one of our focuses. So last year we had a whole day event. We thought maybe we'd get 200 or 300 people, and 750 showed up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So women are thirsty for
yes,
this. Like,
they
we
absolutely
need this.
Are. And they're thirsty about two things. I think people think, they want rah-rah, but they also want, actionable things that they can do to drive business. So
Yes.
I think that's the difference between maybe us and anyone else is we've talked to these women and they're like, listen, we want to feel good, but we also need to know, how do we run a business?
Yes.
How do we do it correctly? How do we manage it with family? So this year we're doing really a roadmap. When you start with a product till you end with it, and we have people speaking all in between. And the goal at the end of each session is to say, here are 3 things you should go home and do right now.
Some action items,
Absolutely, because you know what, it's great to go to a conference, but at the end of the day, when you get home, if you go right back into answering your email and your voicemail, you're not really using the knowledge that you learned. So we're super excited. We have a secret keynote. I can't tell you.
Come on, please. No.
Delaney would kill me.
Okay.
She runs the programming, but I'm really excited about the type of people that we have in Women of Innovation. We'll be opening up registration in another week or 2. So go to our LinkedIn page for Dallas Startup Week is the place to be. Go on and like us or whatever the moniker is, and we are posting every week on there new speakers, new people that are coming in.
Cool.
But Women of Innovation was new last year, that corporate startup. The other thing that was new was called Disrupt Dallas, and that really kicks off Dallas Startup Week on Sunday.
Okay.
And that is focused on the Black and Hispanic and Asian community. So we've really done, again, when we look at research in terms of the people that are building ideas and doing great stuff, they, again, don't get their fair share of funding or attention. So last year we kicked it off. It was very successful, and we're doing the same this year. Again, bringing that community together to talk to each other about ways that they can network and build their infrastructure is really important. So I think when you look at it, it's an event for everybody. It really is. It's for people really of innovation first, and then they're entrepreneurs second. So if you're corporate, if you're in academia, you really need to be here, because I think only when we work together will the greatness happen.
Yeah.
When we're doing individual and we're not looking at other things. I was talking to somebody about South Dallas the other day, and they were like, well, I should be there. Like, they don't even think of it as an opportunity because nobody said to them, hey, you should bring your business there. But when I said the mall's opening up, they're redoing this, they're redoing that, they're like, that sounds like a really good business, and that's really our job, is to get the message out of all the places you should be putting your money and your time.
Yeah. So how is success measured for Dallas Startup Week? Like, what would need to happen during that week for y'all to go, like, this was an awesome event, it was worth all the time, the money, and all the sponsorships? Like, how do y'all measure that?
Yeah, I think for us, one is people joining the DEC. It's free. It's not a member. It's a member-based organization, but there's no money involved. And all of what we saw last year was a huge up in all the classes that we're doing. We do mentor programs. We really believe you should give back. That's really part of being a great entrepreneur.
Yes.
Is the people that have fed you, now you need to feed others. We do a lot of speed dating mentoring programs, and they're a lot of fun. And so we ask people to come back and do that. So we want to see an increase in that. We also want to see an increase in funding in Dallas.
Yeah.
In not just Dallas, North Dallas. So we're not just talking Dallas. We're talking Plano and Frisco and north of Dallas and south of Dallas. We really want to see people doing that. So we do measure how people are spending their money, what the VCs are doing after the event.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we need to do a better job of having like mini DSWs during the year.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, because I think we do such a great job in our local, and then we do a great job here. There's really this missing element of doing something in the middle so that people can come back together and talk about what they've learned, how they can see speakers. The other great thing that we have on the app that we use for this event is you can contact the speakers directly or other people that you can see who sat in the session with you. So if you're somebody that says, oh, I'd really love to get an idea from AT&T, you can go on and say, hey, do you have 10 minutes during the seminar, during the week to talk to me, or afterwards? So I think watching the network build is another one that we're doing. And then really year after year, we're growing. You know, it was 5,000, then it was 8,000. Last year it was 10,000.
So hopefully 15,000 this year.
You know what? We're shooting high just because the stats tell us to.
Yes.
You know, the stats tell us that there's a lot going on. So super excited about that, and then measuring it. And yeah, it's a community that is, I tell people all the time, last year I kind of fell back in love with them. And I know that sounds a little corny, but like, these are people who are doing it. Like, I was an entrepreneur. I had my own company with a bunch of other people. But when you meet somebody who's putting their life savings on the line for something they passionately believe in, it is so cool. Like, you get this energy vibe from them, and you just have this total respect that they want to change things. And I love when I meet people, and I would say 90% of entrepreneurs want to change something.
Yes.
They want to change an injustice. They want to change an inequality. They want to change and make things better. And when you
There's your Boston accent.
there it is. I knew you'd hear it at some point.
There it is.
Better. And you
it.
know what? Those are the kind of people you want to hang with. Those are the kind of people I want to live here. Those are the kind of people I want to go to school with. Those are the kind of people I want my kids to hang out with. So,
And they're in Dallas. The change makers are here in Dallas.
Yes.
Love it. So let's talk about Dallas Startup Week's social impact track this year. Do you have any goodies, like any sessions you want to share, or why even y'all have a social impact track?
You know, again, at the end of the day, all of our jobs are to give back, we believe, right? And so while we're working and we're family, the end of the day is we want to live in a community that gives back. We want to have great neighbors. We want to have great schools. And we want to help people who are not as fortunate. And I think that's the way all of us in the entrepreneur community kind of think. And I love that about giving back. So social good, we thought, hey, listen, when we are talking to people who run nonprofit organizations, you talk to them, and they're usually not technology savvy because they have a limited budget.
Yes.
And so we really feel strongly that they're part of our community and that we should connect them. Jennifer Connolly is the one that put together this year's track, and she is the bomb. She knows the industry really, really well. I am excited to tell you that the Earth X folks are coming.
Ooh,
yes,
love them.
They really put Dallas on the map for environmental.
They have,
and
yes.
so really excited that Tremble Crow is going to join us. Yeah, he's a big guy himself. And again, talk about your ultimate entrepreneur.
How is this event free? I'm just still like, what is happening? Wow.
I tell people that all the time. Is like, come. Some of the events at night we charge just so we can cover our costs, but it's $10.
Okay.
But the event itself is free, so come see Tremble Crow. Like, I am so excited about meeting him.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh
I
my
keep
goodness.
saying that to people. The business of doing good, like reminding people, how do you do good, and how do you make money from doing good? Like, at the end of the day, we all want to make money, so it's not an altruistic standpoint, but how do you do it and also give back? Especially when you've got entrepreneurs and the new Z generation, they really feel they want to work with companies that have purpose.
Yes.
They want to work with companies that are giving back. I just talked to a friend of mine who's small business, only 10 of them, but every Friday in the summer they have off and they have to go do something good. They can go feed the homeless.
That.
They can go to bring people, one of the gals loves exercise. So she went to a small kids school and did that. And so it's all in South Dallas. So it's all about in a small business to give people off one day.
That's huge.
That's 12 days of work. That's a lot to give out. And so the fact that they made it a priority in their business is so exciting because they showed the employees this is what we want. Let's see. We also have one on empowering the next generation of thinkers. So again, how do we get these young people who are so into it? So social is really important. It's really important for social folks to sit next to entrepreneurs, to sit next to academia, to sit next to entrepreneurs. So we're really excited about it. And the other tracks, when you look at them, it almost hurts my head. There's so much, right?
Yes.
I mean, I joke with people when they say they go on a cruise and there was nothing to do. I'm like, listen, that's about you. That's not about the cruise,
exactly.
Right? Well, if you go to Dallas Startup Week and there's nothing to do, something's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with us. Because you have everything from VC to cybersecurity to driving diversity in your business, a huge topic today,
yes.
To healthcare, AI, blockchain, legal. So there is just plenty of things to talk about. And with the right people, one of the things Delaney Majors is with the DEC, and she manages the whole program. And what I love about her and how she's managed her track captains is we want quality, not quantity.
Yes.
So if you can deliver 2 great sessions that have great speakers, Tremble Crow, then that's all we want. We don't want 20 with just random people. So you'll see a really good mix of agencies entrepreneurs who have done it, entrepreneurs who are in the middle of doing it. Because I think it's important not just to get people who have made it, but to get people who are in the struggle. Like, it's real. Paying the bills is real, or getting people to do it. So I'm really excited that we kind of have this full range, and then people can pick and choose. And what we try to do is mix it up so that you can go to a marketing and a legal class from that vertical perspective, but then go somewhere where you want to do what you want, like the arts and entertainment, fashion, and things like that.
I love how you have something for everybody, and almost over 100 free sessions. That's just... Thank you.
You can't go. And what I say to people is, a week is a long time, right, to take off from work. But at the end of the day, you've got to feed yourself.
Yes.
And if you don't feed yourself in your mind, your heart, and your soul, then your business won't survive. And so last year, when I heard people go, "Oh, I'm too busy," we had 5,000 people sign up that didn't go. And that broke my heart a little, because what it meant was something was more important. And at the end of the day, growing your business and making sure your business is solid for you and for your community, that's super important. So the sessions are there so people can look at them to say, is this worth my time? And I think, listening to a Trammell Crow, listening to a head of an agency, listening to entrepreneurs that have made it in Dallas, I think that's worth your time. And I think, you should bring your people, and you should really make an effort that I had one group last year that brought their 5 people. Every day at lunch they met, and they all went to different sessions, and then they shared. And then on Monday, after Dallas Startup Week, the whole day, now remember, these people took 5 days off, small business, but on that whole day, that next Monday, they sat and talked about the sessions, what they wanted to do, and they had like a hit list of these are the things we want to implement. And every month they visit that hit list.
Wow.
Yeah. So they made it a purpose, they made it important, and they made it actionable. Again, what we talked about in the beginning is going to a conference is great, but if you don't come back and really use the information, then what good was it, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it was feel good, but that's not what it's about. And we're going to do a good job at the DEC Network of maybe every month kind of having a follow-up, like a DSW reunion.
That would be incredible.
Of some sort, to get people out, have a glass of wine, and remind you that there was a lot of great information and how can you implement it to drive your business.
Incredible. So what do you think the future holds for Dallas in the social innovation space?
The sky's the limit. Wouldn't it be great if we never talked about social separately anymore?
It just,
maybe it was just part of what you do. When you build a business, 10% of your budget, like some people in church, tithing, 10% of your budget goes to God. Wouldn't it be great if just that's how corporations were built? And I think that's really where we see it heading, is it becomes integrated as part of how entrepreneurs' hearts are.
Yeah.
And really, when you meet a lot of entrepreneurs there, it's all about giving back to the community and growing it. So if we can just get everyone to think like that, it just becomes natural. And then we don't need a social track.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be great?
One day. Do you think younger generations are driving that, or are you seeing that across the board in multiple generations, or is that just a general tide shifting?
It's a great question. So we certainly, the millennials drove it, right? In the last 10 years, they were the ones that said, listen, I don't want to work as hard as my mom and dad. I don't want to work, 90 hours a week, and I want to give back, and I want to believe in something.
Yes.
You've seen marches, you've seen people leave corporations, you've seen people say, listen, that's just not a good thing. I'm not going to mention names, but you saw a big company who gave money to a political candidate that everyone said, no, we don't like that. We don't think we should be in the political game. And so we really are finding that the millennials are driving that. And then the older folks like me are saying, hey, wait a minute, what happened? Because we started out like that. Then you get into the workforce and you just get so programmed to working 90 hours. And Zs are going to be like that too. So I think the good news is everyone's listening. And when you're an entrepreneur, you listen with different ears. You're not a corporation yet. And you're not, here's like 25 rules of things to do.
Yes. You're here to break the rules.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, why we want corporate innovators to come, because sometimes you get stuck.
Yes.
And being innovative, I ran innovation for a company for a couple of years, and I used to laugh because innovation is like, okay, we're going to do innovation today. Everybody get around the table.
Once a year,
we're going to innovate. And people who do true innovation, it's about the magic that happens when different people and different minds get together. I was talking to a friend at a big company here in Plano, and they were having an innovation workshop, and they just brought all of their people and agencies, and I said, why don't you invite 2 or 3 nonprofits? She's like, what do you mean? I said, why don't you invite 2 or 3 entrepreneurs? Why don't you invite somebody from Paul Quinn College who's doing amazing things, a UTD, amazing things in their Blackstone thing, And she was like, it didn't even dawn on me. And so those are the types of conversations we want to continue to have, because the more that those people are talking and giving ideas, the better innovation will be. And again, the end result is living in communities where people are making money, they're giving back, we have happy kids, we have happy schools, and that's what life's all about. We only got a couple of years on it sounds altruistic, but it really is about, the end of the day, having people live good, healthy lives and happy lives, and making sure everybody kind of gets a little piece of the pie.
Exactly. So for our audience who is not an entrepreneur, who is interested in social innovation but is not a social innovator themselves, how can we best support, how can those people best support entrepreneurs in Dallas?
Yes, I mean, time, talent, and treasure. Right? So when I was really busy a couple of years ago, traveling a lot with a job, so I gave a lot of money during that period, because that was really what I could do to give back, because I was very busy. Then when I went on my own, I had more time. So now I could give time back. I think, start with something you're passionate about. I'm very passionate about dogs. I just became a dog owner 3 years ago, my first time ever.
Oh, wow.
Ever.
Well, you're from Boston, so I guess not really room for dogs.
Yeah, not a lot of room up there. Loved it so much that I actually wrote 2 children's books. Now, here I am, 50-odd years old.
Oh, my goodness.
Never wrote a book in my life, and ended up writing 2 that are on Amazon now. And it was because I had this passion for helping the dog. I'm a rescue person. Rescue, shop, don't adopt, don't shop. But I worked at SPCA, I volunteered at SPCA and learned so much. I learned a lot about not just taking care of the dogs, but what their business cycle is, how they manage. And so that was where I could then give some money and say, hey, here are ways I could do it. And then a year after that, I was like, well, you know what? I love this so much. What can I do? What else can I do? Well, if I could sell books. So I wrote the book, and the book is only, I sell it to consumers, but I also want it to be a B2B book. I want to give it to nonprofits to sell as a fundraiser.
Oh, cool.
And then they can make money. So that's a great kind of story of, I wasn't an entrepreneur when I started loving dogs, but then once I got to help and I wanted to do more, the book came up as an idea. I had a funny suggestion that I came up with that people were like, you should write a book about that. And it was a real story. I was like, oh, that would be really fun. Can I really do that?
Yeah.
And that's the difference, I think, between entrepreneurs and people who want to be, right? I could have stopped it. Well, I don't know if I could do that. But the entrepreneur takes the next step, say, how do I do it? And I started networking and asking people who wrote books, how hard is this? How easy is this?
Yeah.
Contacting publishers. What do I need to do to get your attention? So people who want to get involved, I say the first step is get involved with a social good organization.
And there's so many in Dallas.
Dallas is such a great mecca. Anything you are interested in, they have a social, some kind of social
And the need
play.
for volunteers is so real.
Yes.
Please, please, please. And it just also educate on the issues in our city. I think that's also another step. I think we get so bogged down to our day-to-day, we forget to look up and say, human trafficking is happening in my backyard. Kids are suffering and, we're not having the right resources to go to school. How can you uniquely plug in? And so just do some research. Take 5 minutes off of Instagram, off of Facebook, and just do some research. What is happening in Dallas and plug in. Because
and get your families involved.
Yes.
Kids really need that. My son, I always say, we brought up not a kind of a privileged kid, right? Because we live in a great area. We have, income that a lot of people don't. But he had to give back. So when he got money for his birthday, a third went to church, a third went to a nonprofit of his choice, and a third he could spend.
Oh, wow.
And so that was kind of our way to make sure that it was always a priority. To whom much is given, much is required. It's our favorite Bible verse. It's in everything in our house, because anything that we do, when he ran the Boston Marathon, people came and they gave money, and that went to one of the homeless shelters in Frisco. So I think there's so much to do. You should be doing it with your kids. One, it's a great way to spend time with them.
Yes.
Instead of in front of the TV, which is nothing good on anyway.
We've watched everything on Netflix already.
We've already binged everything.
Yes.
So, take your kids out. And I think what's important too is kids seeing other kids doing it. I think it's a great way for us to give back to our families. And so give back for your community, give back, bring your businesses, close down on a Friday. And again, people want to work for people that care about other people.
Yes.
And so I think it's a really simple concept that sometimes we overanalyze and we want to read a book and we got to put a plan together. And I'm like, stop the plans, take Friday off and go to SPCA. Or
and I think your employer might be open
Yeah.
to, if you don't ask, you don't know. And that might open the door for anybody else to do that in your,
A great point. And be the catalyst in your organization. And you might end up changing a lot about how they think and feel. And again, Dallas, from wherever you live, whether it's Frisco or Dallas or South Dallas, there are plenty of organizations that, as you said, sex trafficking, kids, education. The other thing is a lot of our colleges are doing great things. We do great things with UTD. Matter of fact, we're sponsoring a class at UTD, and they're helping us with Dallas Startup Week marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're a small business, what a great opportunity to great minds, whether they're undergraduate or graduate. UTD, Paul Quinn does the same thing, is they want corporations to be involved. They do a lot of work with nonprofits to help them. So there's a lot of, you can't say, I don't know what to do and no one's there to help me, because you've got us that you can come to for free. You've got colleges that are just always want their kids to have real world experience.
Exactly. I love that shift in education.
Yes,
I
me
went to
too.
UNT Dallas, and they're very much on the experiential learning. So get involved. We need young people to get more involved.
Absolutely. And I didn't have it in my college back in the day. So this is great. And we met with them last week. And I remember telling their professor, like, wow, like these are great. Like, I don't remember being that mature at that age. And these kids they had their act together. They had great questions. They were very, good about, well, what do you want to do here? And what's the end result? What are the deliverables? And these are seniors in like a marketing class. So we're really lucky that we're going to have their help. They're also going to help us get young people in. They looked at my the Instagram for Dallas Startup Week. They're like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. It made me laugh. I said, you're right, there is. And that's really why we want your help. So so get involved, right? It's really that simple. And I love what you just said, so I am going to repeat it and make it my own. Be the catalyst. Be the catalyst that changes something. And if your work doesn't have it, recommend it. Because I think that all we need is one person to open up a window, open up a door for other people to really start thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else before we kind of wrap up? Anything else you want to touch on?
We touched on so much.
I know.
You know what? Just everything you said. I think the wrap up is the Dallas Network is a nonprofit, and we just want to support and give back to the entrepreneurial community. And it is an ecosystem. So we want people to come. If you want to come and give advice on marketing, we'll do a marketing roundtable for you, and people will come to it. When we do speed dating, come check us out. So that I loved the fact that people could sit with me and ask me questions about stuff that I love. I love marketing. So I loved when I had these entrepreneurs in front of me say, what logo do you like? Or I can't get more people, or how do I get my Facebook better? It really was a great opportunity to give back. Dallas Startup Week, grab a friend, grab somebody. Don't come by yourself. It really is so much going on. The good news this year, we're at Gillies.
Oh, perfect.
So we have basically one location. Our special events are at other locations. So definitely get on. Attendify is the name of the app that once you register, we tell you to get it.
Excellent.
And you can put in kind of the classes that you want to see where you want the sessions or where you want to go. But bring a friend, make a night of it. Girls, grab your best buddies and come to Women of Innovation.
We are going to be at the Women, we're going to be at that summit.
I said to my girlfriends last year, you're coming. Because it was such a great thing to go out to dinner afterwards and have a glass of wine and say, wow. We got to hear Susie Beto speak. We got to hear, what's her name for the bank? Oh, Eva, no. Oh, my God, I can see her face. She was phenomenal. I mean, we just got to hear really interesting people talk about what it's about, and how they built their businesses and how we might. So we want to see everybody there. Register.
It's free. It's free. Have we said that yet? It is free. So April 26th through May 1st. How can we find it? So what's y'all's website?
Our website is the DallasStartupWeek.com. You can go to LinkedIn, DallasStartupWeek.com. You can also go to the DEC Network. We have a website, and we also have a LinkedIn page as well. And there's plenty of information on there to let you know.
Wonderful. Well, Tracey, this was so fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And please take advantage of this free week. This is incredible, and I just am so grateful that we have something like the DEC Network in Dallas. So I'm really super excited about the future of Dallas. We have so many great people here like you, so just thank you so much for dedicating your time to entrepreneurs and building up this great city that we have. And have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for listening to the Road to Innovation podcast powered by the Kleinert Foundation.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Road to Innovation, powered by the Kleinert Foundation. If you'd like to learn more about today's social innovator, please visit kleinertfdn.org or the podcast website at theroadtoinnovation.com.